Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Ryan Little.
All right, everybody. What is going on this week? Oh, man, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're tuning in. I'm glad you're turning up the dial. I'm glad you're telling your friend to shut the hell up. I'm listening to GCOM Radio on right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got one more show in the bag, in the can for you. Well, it's about to be in the can once I get it uploaded, but yeah, I'm right here. I'm talking to you guys free and open and willing to exchange some words with you guys that you're having with your own friends, that you're listening to my words as I speak through your radio to your Walkman. Here it goes. I'm telling my age. Through your iPhone or your smartphone or wherever you're listening to your podcast. Yeah, hopefully your week has been super fantastic. It's been learning lessons, as I say every week, for the good and the bad, because the bad makes you, it's just as much an experience, a learning experience, as the good. It makes you realize what you should not do and how you move in the next step, in the next, stage of life in your journey. Yeah, man. So mine was good. Mine was all right. Mine was fantastic. Hey, I just bought a new car. Yes, I did. I bought a new car, man. I got myself another Hyundai. Yeah, I got rid of the old lease and I got a new one. This time I financed, and I'll get into a little more into that later. But yo, let's not delay here. I'm trying to have a sweet short show. I know I tried to do it last week and it didn't work. It did not work out. But I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible, so I can move on and I could get and do other things that I got planned. So let's get this going. Yes, I am your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio. And we are going to get started with the first major topic, what's going on this past couple of days. And as everybody knows, what took place over at the Oscars, yes, everybody knows by this time that you're listening to my voice, the big scene of what took place at the Oscars. Now, I totally forgot the Oscars was happening. I'm serious, totally tuned out. I didn't even know what was happening until like earlier in that day, Sunday. It was like, I forgot. I think I saw it on Twitter or a commercial on TV. I was like, oh, really? It's the Oscars tonight. Whatever. I used to watch the Oscars, and I don't do it as much, and it's just a lot of it, to me is a little masturbation on that community, Hollywood community's part. And I'm just like, you get disappointed on certain things. You just stopped thinking like, all right, well, is this going to be any different how they usually do it? Why should I care what is happening at the Oscars? But one crazy situation happened, as everybody knows, the Chris Rock and Will Smith situation. The slap heard around the world. Yeah, everybody's seen it. I know I saw it. I saw it late night. I saw it at like 11:30 at night. I'm about to go to bed, and I'm looking at Twitter, and I'm seeing the messages. I'm like, oh, really? And then I see the video. I'm like, oh, is this real? Is this staged? What is going? Look, Twitter and all of social media was aflame. I'm telling you, aflame with the Will giving the slap to Chris Rock. Now, like I said, I thought it was a joke, and until Will sat down, he walked right off. He sat down, and you know what he screamed? He's like, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And I'm saying that because, I got other people in earshot of me listening as I go. So, But you get the point, because I know you heard that already like 1,000 times, and you kept replaying it and replaying it and replaying it, so you know where it went down. And when he said that, I was like, oh snap, he did say, and this is real. And then Chris Rock was saying, Will Smith slapped the shit out of me. Yo, and you know, I'm gonna right along with y'all. I was dissecting that video myself, rewinding and rewinding and rewinding, see if I could do slow-mo. Some of you people did the good and put out the slow-mo, and like, sure enough, my man went up there and slapped the hell out of Chris Rock. Now, you know, Chris was trying to keep his composure because look, Chris didn't know he was gonna get slapped. It was the Oscars. There's like 20 cameras focused in on him with the lights beaming down on Chris Rock. He did not know that that's what Will was going to do. He just thought he was going to add to it. This is going to be on some off scripted. It definitely was off scripted. Definitely was off scripted. Some off script, you know, talk, and it was going to be a fun night, a moment for, it's like like I said, it was an Oscar moment. And yeah, man, he had his hands behind, he was totally caught off guard. His hands was behind his back. He didn't think anything of it, and then he came up. Yo, Will was quick. He came up and let off of my man Chris Rock. Yo, let me tell you. But you know what? To be honest, I don't have anything against Will Smith or Chris Rock. They are two titans in the entertainment business, and each of them deserve our utmost respect. Everything that they have done, they have gladly earned, and I have no ill will, no pun intended, towards either one of them. They did what they did, and I'm not casting any blame. I'm not saying what they should have done or who'd done. This is just a situation that took place. Unfortunately, it happened the way it happened, and I'm glad that there were other people in that room. Shout out to Denzel, shout out to Tyler Perry, and all the others that were trying to de-escalate and serve an intervention for Will, because Will, you know what I mean? Will was serious, man. And look, Chris Rock is a comedian, all right? Chris Rock is a comedian, and comedians are going to say risque things. They're going to say edgy things. And as we all know, especially with Dave Chappelle, not everybody's going to appreciate everything a comedian says. There's some spot on things that comedians and sharp and, you know, witty. And the other things that it was like, maybe that joke, it just didn't go well. It sounded great, you know, at home crafting it, but it didn't come out well on stage. And that's just one of the risks that you take as a comedian. Not everyone is going to appreciate what you say. Now, that being said, I think comedians should have room to understand and play, and you know, they're going to have to play that limit to where they can go. And you have to understand that, in ways that they have to understand that things could be taken the wrong way, and we all know there's some hecklers that definitely went beyond their heckling, and then, you know, business had to happen. But I don't think because this happened that comedians should be concerned that someone's going to walk up on stage and hit them. I don't think you should treat any comedian like that, no matter how much you disagree with what they say. This is their craft, this is their job, and they're human beings, and they're going to get things wrong. And I don't want comedians to start thinking that they got to worry about wherever they go that someone's going to walk up and slap them in the face because this person didn't agree with what was received. You just walk out the show. Yeah, man. And at the same time, people have to be careful of what they say. Like I said, you can say what you want. It is a free country. Everybody nice. Sometimes, and you already know if you listen to the show, you know when I hate when people say this is a free country. And some way that statement is going to allow you to do whatever you want, no matter how childish and idiotic that it may be. No, there are consequences to your actions. Just be real. I'm not saying comedians should be worried about getting on stage, but just for anybody, just not comedians, there are consequences to what you say. The energy you put out, is it going to be the energy you receive? And this is a prime example. The energy was put out there and it was received with the same zest, as I should say. You know what I mean? And social media has given people that outlet to say what they say without consequences. There's so many people, the celebrities, that has done what they've done, and they have their social media platforms, and people just talk reckless, man. People just talk reckless to how these celebrities move, and and they can hide behind a keyboard, they can hide behind a computer screen, and they just tool off on folks, not knowing these people have feelings. But I also want celebrities to know that the people that they have problems with on social media, more than likely they're bots that are just trying to egg things on and get a reaction out of you, or it's probably a 14-year-old that just wants to say what they're going to say to see if there's a lot of times celebrities have responded to people and put them on blast, and everybody looks at the person that said some crazy things to them, and then the person that said the crazy things actually was like, oh my God, I didn't think you were going to respond. Hey, I'm your biggest fan. Some crazy business. Like, wait, the celebrity's like, you're my fan and you're talking crazy to me like this? Like, it's absolutely nuts, because people want to get that reaction. People want to see how far they can go to actually get the attention of this celebrity that they admire. Yeah, it's weird. I know it's weird, but it's true at the same time. So, people got to respect or understand the science of energy. The science of energy, especially when it comes to words. Words are powerful. It's no different from any other energy that we understand in science in terms of physics. The energy you put out is going to be the energy you receive, and be prepared for it. Now, I heard the joke, of course, I saw the slap a couple times, and I heard the joke, and I'm like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't egregious. It wasn't entirely disrespectful. I've heard worse. So I listened to it a couple times. I forgot Javier Bardem. I think that's the guy's name. Let me see something right here, right quick. Let me see if I can bring this up. Where is my Google? The Googles. He made a joke. I think. Let me see if I'm not gonna bring up Bardem. I think I got the wrong guy. Yeah, Javier Bardem. All right. So he said some things about Javier Bardem. His wife was there, and he made mention of both of them as far as, in terms of work, a job, and winning Oscars, and who should win the Oscar. I don't remember his entirety, but Javier Bardem, he played along, and that was it. So, but when Chris ran over to the wife, and this is not the first time Chris has mentioned and put Jada Pinkett on the hot seat. This the other time. There were other times where he said some stuff about when she wanted to boycott the Oscars before because not a lot of black actors, and he had something to say. Hey man, I don't even know their relationship. I don't know if they're like super cool or they're aware of each other or they hang out. I don't even know that. I see they're in pictures together, but that doesn't mean they're like good friends. You can respect each other in the business, cross paths whenever it happens, or do a movie. Oh yeah, I did a movie with Chris Rock for 3 months, and then you don't really see each other. It's just what it is. So I don't think the joke was that bad. But you know what? If the joke wasn't that bad, once people look at it, then you have to ask the question is, then why did Will go off? Why did Will walk up and slap Chris in the way that he did in public during the Oscars with all these cameras recording the moment that he tools off on skin-to-skin action? Okay. When he went back to his seat and Chris was engaging Will simply said, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth." He wasn't talking to Chris. He wasn't. Yes, they were exchanging words with each other. Yes, that was a man-on-man conversation in amongst 200-300 people. He wasn't talking to Chris. He was talking to every person in that room. Will was talking to every person in that room. He was just using Will as a Horcrux. Chris was the Horcrux. Chris was the Horcrux. As I say with Harry Potter, all right? He was just using Chris as a conduit, as a loudspeaker to channel his energy to the rest of the room. And not just to the room, to the world. It was just that at that moment where he had a break in calmness and posture and said, no, this is it. This is where I'm going to set the stage to how I've been feeling for a very long time. And the world is going to know how I feel. So Will was just not talking to Chris alone. He was talking about everyone that has something to say. Everyone. It's a small community, Hollywood. It's a very small community, all right, in terms of actors, the talent. It's 500 people, possibly 1,000. You know, I'm not even, probably the extra 500 are the extras. But really the main actors and the supporting cast, 700? It's a small community. They bump into each other all the time at these offices when they're hanging out, eating dinner or lunch in LA or in Hollywood or Beverly Hills. They bump into each other on sets, wherever they are around the world. They know each other. Their talent agents know each other. The producers know each other. The top execs at the studios know each other. Everybody talks. And within that number of people, you're gonna have some folks that's gonna talk reckless. You're gonna have some folks that is going to talk reckless, and they're gonna say some things, and Will's tightening his lip. Jada's tightening her lip, playing it all. That little laughing thing they had the Oscars, they playing it along behind closed doors without the camera there. Understand what I'm saying? So everybody talks. Oh, you heard what such and such said? Whoever it is in the business. To Will, oh my God, I can't believe you said that in the meeting, in the morning meeting for the script. That, and people would snickering and laughing and all that. That grates people on their nerves. You know what I mean? And people were saying, oh, but, he's smiling at the beginning. I don't know why he's smiling. See, where did it all come from? Where did it? Listen. Even some rappers say this, folks. Some rappers say this in the rhyme, and I can't remember specifically. Rappers be like, I'm smiling, but it ain't nothing funny. That's a line some rappers do say. So don't think that, Will was just chilling there and he was like smiling. Oh, but he was smiling all of a sudden 180. No, man, that's the professionalism. He's just doing that to play. But when he turned left and saw his wife being obviously she was upset by the face she had, he was like, hold on, I can't hold this no more. You know what I mean? So, look, he was a husband protecting his wife. He was protecting his wife's dignity and her personal pain because she had alopecia. I don't know if Chris Rock knew. Supposedly, some people, I think it was Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club was saying he spoke to Chris. I think it was Charlamagne, and Chris said he didn't know she had alopecia, but hey man, but that was Will protecting his wife. Will was dealing or is dealing with a lot of his own personal struggle with his wife, the whole entanglement thing, people questioning their couple situation. Constantly, everybody talking about, nah, he a beard, or however that term goes, or nah, the Hulk is how. Look, he's been dealing with that thing in a mature way, even though when he did that red table talk with his wife, there was a couple times he cracked, and he's a human being. You're not going to be all smiles and laughing or whatever. You're going to be a human being, and your emotions are going to come out. But he's been dealing with that for a long time. He said it in his acceptance speech. I'm not going to go word for word. I'm not going to play. You guys already heard it. As a celebrity, you deal with a lot of people talking mess to you. And you got to button up your lip, and you got to straighten your tie. You got to, hold your chin up high. Not everybody's like that. Every person has a breaking point. And to the point where, at a breaking point where he was crying in his acceptance speech, and he was telling y'all. And all those tears and that pain he was showing, was it all coming out on camera? That was a painful thing. I felt for Will, man. I really did. Because I know it wasn't about the slap. Come on, man. These dudes is in their 50s. They have kids, they have families, they are professionals in the entertainment business. That wasn't violent, because you hear all this crazy people talking about, oh my God, that was just violent. I mean, look at this is how they do these things. I mean, he's a celebrity. He could just sit down after slapping someone and he needs to be brought up on charge. Oh my God. I'm like, shut up, man. Shut up. He was bearing his soul when he was giving his acceptance speech. And he was trying to explain to the audience and the world why that happened. As you know how awkward that is in front of that room, that small room, and the rest of the world. You got to bare your soul on. You have to sometimes say sorry just to save face. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it was people saying patriarchy and it's a violation of the utmost, and how he should have done it and where, and at the end of the day, look, you don't know. At the end, you don't know what you would do. You don't know what you would do in Will's position. Will has the entire world on his shoulders. He's been dealing with it month in and month out, year in and year out for decades, since he first got married to Jada. And then you're just going to tell him how and when he should do it, what was the right way. Shut up. You don't know how you should have done it. Because if you had to deal with and walk in his shoes, you would have probably did the same thing. Stop telling people how they should act or how they should feel, because you ain't going through it. Now you gonna tell a man how to drive in the Indy 500? Yo, you should turn this way. You ain't driving no 200 miles an hour in one circular motion, having to avoid accidents, death, keeping from you all the while you want to win the race. There's so many variables and factors, and making sure this freaking 4,000 or 2,000, whatever way car vehicle is barreling down the road. You going at ungodly speeds. You can't tell a man how he should turn or when he should turn. He should did this, that. You leave that up to the professionals. But the average person is sitting on social media telling how Will should have, I would have done it like this. Shut up, because you're not in his shoes. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'll say this in closing. I'm glad Chris didn't bring up charges on Will, because to me, it was more than the violence, quote unquote, that people said happened on stage. He was, people were going to call it, it's the blackest time Oscar ever won. I hate that too. Because when it comes to violence, you want to say, it's the blackest Oscars ever. Shut the fuck up. Black and violence ain't got nothing to do with each other. You know how words be getting out on the Twitter, and then black people, and I'm not saying it's white folks saying, black people be saying that same ignorant bullshit. Another ignorant bullshit they was talking about, if that was a white man, if that was, Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or Ricky Gervais, he would have never done that. I don't give a goddamn. You don't know what that man would have done. You don't know what Will would have done. It doesn't matter if it's skin color. If my man had it up to here with how people were talking about him and his wife, he gonna go up there and slap the taste out of somebody's mouth. And then, of course, the reaction from Hollywood would be different. They would have probably banned him or whatever the case is. But you know what? It don't matter. When you get to that point, it just don't matter. So I don't go and hear all that bullshit. It was a white man. He wouldn't have done it. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. That's the shit I hate. That's another one I hate. But it really, back to what I was saying, I'm glad Chris, it was more, I'm glad he didn't press charges. I think that would have only convoluted the situation. I think how the situation should have been dealt with is it should have been dealt with or should be, or it is being dealt with forgiveness, understanding, maturity, love, and healing. Now, I'm not leaving. I've been talking about Will. I want to bring in Chris too. Chris has feeling. He had his family. They were watching the Oscars. They were watching it at home, and they were watching it in the studio or whatever, in the hall or room or whatever. So they were concerned for their father and husband as well, or boyfriend, or whatever. So Chris has feelings too, and he was totally shocked. and he should be looked out too. And they got to get these brothers in a room to talk about it, and not just what they went through or what Will is going through, but what black men go through. That's why I'm glad. I'm 90% sure Chris is not going to call the police. I read the article that next morning. He said he wasn't calling police. And even though the LAPD was like, well, if whatever individual decides to want to file a report later, they can't. Chris is not doing. Chris, to me, is a very conscious man. You can hear that in his comedy. He's aware of how black men are treated in this country. And the last thing you want to do is invite the police or the judicial system in how they're going to deal with Will Smith, because they're not going to deal with compassion or forgiveness, or they're not going to do anything like that. They're not. What they're going to do is take the opportunity to shred a black soul in public. They will get a joy out of that. And we understand that how a lot of the cases, the celebrity cases, has gone on for the last one, like for Jussie Smollett. All right, that same thing. As much as I hate the fact that Jussie did that stupid thing, I would have never thought he should have got jail for that, because there's a lot of other people, especially white folks, that's calling police on black people, that it can lead to them getting killed, and they know that, and they don't get an hour in jail, not even a minute in jail. So I don't even think Jussie Smollett, or whatever his name is, should have spent an hour in jail. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want Will Smith to go through the court system. They would butcher his name and his character and drag him through the mud, and his family, and he has to deal with this theatrics and every camera in his face for what he did. I'm glad Denzel and Tyler Perry pulled him to the side and spoke to Will. And hopefully they could come to some kind of conclusion between these two brothers and work this on out. And that's why black folk don't involve the police when shit go down. That's why black folk don't involve the judges when shit go down. Until we see ourselves or people of justice in those positions, we ain't calling police. We don't want to deal with that. However, I want black people to take more of an effort to really replace. If you don't want police in your situations because you know it's going to end up bad, then you have to police yourselves. That's what I say with black folk. You're going to have to police yourselves. You're going to have to get together, talk with each other. Okay, we're going to have to do patrols. We're going to have to deal with this on our own, in our own way. If you feel like justice is not going to come to you because the system is racist and it's heaped against you, the odds is concerned, then hey, man, you got to do what's necessary for your community. Because, by the way, segue, I saw that video on IG of a woman getting robbed with her kid. Her kid was probably like 6-7 years old, and you got two fuck boys, all right, from the coward culture waiting in the lobby and robbing a woman with her kid, holding her kid in hand with the book bag. That's coward culture, and it's got to be dealt with quickly, immediately, and the streets is watching. And they should be dealt with, because we shouldn't be dealing with that in our community. This is not just pointing out all the craziness that happened to black people, even brown folks that's happening in poor communities. But I'm saying we should deal with it our own way. Don't worry about the police. You deal with it. Hopefully they catch them. And am I encouraging vigilanteism? Listen. It's a slippery slope, man. I get it. I don't want people to be running around taking justice in their own hands, but this is the situation. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. This is the situation. When you're dealing with a racist system that doesn't want to see peace within your home, within your family, wherever you go, you can't just sit there and just sulk. Oh, they're not doing their jobs. You got to take it upon your own hands. The system is not working to protect you or your family. That's what police are for. They are agents of the system, public safety officers. That's what they do. To uphold and protect, right? To serve and protect is on the side of the squad cars. If they're not doing that, which we all know for truth in black and brown communities, then what are you supposed to do? You don't do assault? No, you got to do it on your own. You got to make sure your communities are safe, and you make sure young mothers and little kids ain't gonna be the victims of some coward culture because you want a couple dollars. So I'm glad, like I said, going back to it, Chris didn't call the police. So hopefully they can work this on out. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see where I'm at. Okay, I got 10 more minutes I'm going to say. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I bought a new car. I bought myself a Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy, fully loaded. The dealership experience was something else. I first went to one Hyundai place, and there was one dude named Clive. I don't know, he's either Clyde or Clive. And we were trading in a lease, and the dude didn't want to do a deal. He don't want to give us a good trading value for the car. So a trading value that was going to roll over into new car, which is not what we wanted to do. Me and my wife went. I recorded the whole situation, and I'm just going to throw it in a little piece. I thought it would be dope to kind of record the car buying experience and then share like on things what people should. I'll share with you guys right now on what you should look at, because even adults, when they're in their 40s and their 50s or whatever the case, even they are not fully in the know of what to look out for, what to do when it comes to looking for a car. But I had a great experience we went over. It didn't work out with Millennium Hyundai. Went to South Shore Hyundai. Daquan was a dude that was helping us out to get that car, and Lisa was a finance person, and they helped us out, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, went right on in, and it was a 180 from what we dealt with at the Hyundai dealership where Clyde was working at. So I never thought I'd be a Hyundai owner. That's the thing. I never, I just thought I always probably saw, I don't know what I see myself in, but I was a big fan of Acura, I gotta say, big fan of Infiniti. Those are two cars that, and I had an Acura back then. I had an Acura, I forgot the year it was a car, but, I forgot the year of the car, but I love that car, but I had to get rid of it because the tranny was going to go or something like that. So I was like, I gotta get out of this thing. I think that's what happened. I'm not so sure. I was getting a lot of problems. It was a used car, and I was like, yo, I gotta get out of this thing. I'm tired of putting money into it, and I got rid of it. So and then my first car was a Chrysler 300M. I bought it off of a dude. And I loved that car because it was my first car. Everybody knows their first car. But, I got into a little ding-a-ding-ding-ding. I had to toss that car out, and I think it was the Acura afterwards. But anyway, I always saw myself in a Hyundai or an Acura. I'm not a big fan of Benz. I'm not a big fan of Beamers. The reason why, because everybody has them. You drive on the road, everybody has a freaking Benz and a Beamer. Everybody has that. And yeah, you could probably say, there's a lot of people with a lot of different cars. You see Toyotas, you see, Mercuries. Some people see Mercuries, Lincolns, and all that. Yeah, but when people want to do status and have a status symbol, what do? The first two cars they go for is a Benz or a Beamer. You know what I mean? And I always like to be different. I'm a type of person that if the crowd is going one way, I like to go the other. But it wasn't my decision. My wife just said, let's go to Hyundai. I was like, Hyundai, get out of here. Because Hyundai had this old body. It was in the 90s. It was a terrible looking car. It was, whoever the designers were, I was like, chop them up and throw them to the sharks. It was a terrible design. But when I went to the Hyundai dealership, I got a Hyundai Sonata Limited, and it was a whole new look. It was a car that was on the floor. I was like, what? It had basketball. It was like a basketball brown seats, a little lighter in color, leather seats. It was a beautiful looking car. It was a well-made car, man. I didn't feel a single bump when I leased that car. And now that's saying, I know I was rolling over certain places. I'm like, it was like floating on clouds. And from there, I was like, wow, Hyundai makes great cars. And then at the same time, I still was telling myself, I'm not a Hyundai driver. But then, I got another car, and now I'm ended up another Hyundai, at least a second one, because I kind of messed up. I was blowing through those miles. And then finally, I'm coming to this one where, I got a Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy, man, fully loaded, and it's a beautiful, beautiful car. And I reviewed it, and check this out. Hyundai is the top-notch car for a car of its stature, in its mid-range, or whatever you want to call it. Non-luxury vehicles, it still beats out a lot of cars, man. It's a beautifully made car, man. I'm not knocking it. So got a Hyundai. I've been a Hyundai owner for several years now, and yeah, I'm with it, man. But I do wish in other experiences, I have had other experiences with dealerships where they've been fucked up, man. Dealerships has been fucked up, and to me, dealerships should be no different from Target, shopping in at Best Buy, in a restaurant. But there's so much, it's everyone that I speak to always has a terrible in their lives, a terrible experience buying cars. It's like almost a war. You got to go in with a war mentality when you're buying a car, whether it's used or brand new. And, people have said they've gotten tricked, they've gotten bad cars and everything. And you know what? To flip it on the dealership side, they have gotten bad cars as well, and people are just trying to get rid of their car. They go to the dealership, and then, the dealership buys a car. They're going to sell it in the auction or something like that, resell it, and then they can't resell it for whatever reason because the person that sold it to them lied. So I understand what car dealerships go through, but there are some smarmy, think of the worst character in The Hobbit. Like the orcs or the orcai coming out of, let me tell you something. The worst, man. And like I said, it's like a battle. It's like a battle going into a dealership, and you never feel right. You go into Target, you buy a microwave. You buy a microwave for $200, $100, $400, depending on whatever you want. But then you'll never go to the cash register person. They'll say, well, if you get this warranty, if you had this, if you do that, here we go. If you buy a microwave and it does not work, you simply return it. You can't do that with cars. And you can't, and it's not so much in New York. When you buy a car, there's so many people that want to throw it on you. This, do that, do this, do this. You need to do that. No, there was one time where they said one of the things you want to do is get your credit report before you go in. I took my credit report, all three, went into a dealership. I was like, this is my score. And they was like, oh, okay. Because, better you score, the better rate that you can get, right? If you don't have a great credit score, the higher your interest payments will be. So they did well, and they was messing around on the keyboard, clickety clacking, and they printed out my credit report on their side. They say, no, your credit report is much lower. I'm like, no, I just printed this out. This is an official 3-in-1. All of them, the credit reporting agencies, my number is high. They was like, whoa, we have this system that's internal, and it's with this system we can get an idea what you're real. Get the fuck out of here. I walked out of there, man. Some bullshit. Some fucking bullshit. And then, I had other situations. So there are a couple of things that people should be aware of. And I'll just explain some of them for those that don't know. And look, and like I say, everybody gets caught out there because, what you don't know, you don't know. And then you find out later, like, damn, you remember the next time. To me, the first thing you do is read the whole website, whatever they're offering. Read everything. You could probably catch some things that has already been offered and it's free or whatever the case may be, because a lot of times these dealerships will try to sell you something and you don't really need it. You know what I mean? That's number one. Read the entire site. And a lot of times the other thing is, a lot of times when you go, they'll bait and switch. A lot of these used car companies, they'll try to sell you a car for X amount. You get, like, say, a black Acura 2010 or whatever the case may be, TL Acura TL. That's the car I had, an Acura TL, I think 2007. And then you go there, they don't have the car, and they try to sell you something. That's baiting and switching. Or they'll try to tell you one price, and it's like, oh, that's not really. And then all of a sudden you do. I went into a car dealership where I was looking through them, and they say, yeah, this is a great car. This is a great car. And I'm looking through the lot, and can I try and test it? Yeah, sure. Let me get the keys. The guy got the keys. I hopped in the car, turn it over. Nothing happened. He was like, it's been sitting for a while. Nothing happened. Tried another car. Nothing happened. Went to another dealership, right? I said, okay, I want that car, right? And he said, cool. But we got to fix it. They were honest. They could not fix this car. They had a local garage that they worked with to fix cars. Whatever you car, the guy could not. They were in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I was like, what's up with this car? I said, you know what? Forget it. Don't want it. I'm surprised I waited that long. But I was like, no. I kept it pushing. He was like, no, we'll sell you. No, that's all right. You can't turn this car. The guy can't. It was crazy. If you have a trade-in, make sure you check the value of the car. Dealerships can lowball you, of course. And I understand dealerships, they're going to try to lowball you on the car, so they'll just mark it up, slap on the sticker on there, and they'll sell it for X amount more so they can make a profit. So never go just going in expecting them to give you a good price. Obviously, right? Get the trade-in. I think you can go to cars.com. Is it right? Just Google it. Just make sure, and you speak to your friends and kind of work from there. I think it's cars.com. And you can figure out what's the value of the car, and you go in like that. Okay, listen, I'm here to buy a car. Once you figure out what car you want to buy, and you settle with it, and you say, okay, I got to trade in. I want this for 20, and then you haggle from there. All right, but make sure you get a good price. Don't let them go too low. They're gonna tell you all types of auto industry information that you should have known, but this is why the value of your car is much lower. I mean, you don't know these things, man. You're like, whatever. I want to get this for that. What are you going to do for me? And I'll get to that in the last thing. I'll get it. Another good thing is be pre-approved for a loan. That's great. Then you'll know your credit score. The dealerships won't jack up the rates with you. If you come in with a pre-approved loan from a bank, you say, okay, I got $40,000. And then you control what you can actually buy, because that's all you're doing. Because a lot of times these car dealerships, they'll try to sell you, hey, you really want this. I know a situation where they kind of played the buddy. You can't drive that car. The guy was going to get a Dodge Challenger Hemi. He's like, you can't drive that car. And the guy was like, yeah, of course I can. No, you can't. They played reverse psychology. The guy ended up buying the car, right? He ripping and running through the streets. He crashed the joint because he didn't know how to handle it. It's fucked up. That they played that dude. They played on his ego, and they played on his insecurity, and they won. So be pre-approved for a loan. You go in there, and then sometimes if you're pre-approved for a loan and say it's the interest rate is 3%, a lot of times, because they work with dealerships work with banks of their own, sometimes their own automotive bank, they'll probably give you a lower interest rate because they want your business. I don't worry about that. We can give you a lower interest rate, 1.50, whatever. We'll work it out. And then, you go with what you go with. Sometimes it can happen like that. The other thing is, don't bother with all the extra warranties and stuff. That's a lot of ways where they can squeeze a little bit more money out of you. And a lot of these warranties can be overpriced. Buying extended warranties, all you're doing is just rolling over this warranty into the cost of your car loan, and you're paying interest on a service you don't even need. You know what I mean? Because there's already a manufacturer's warranty on this thing. See what else they do offer, but you don't need any of these extra warranties and things that they need. It really depends on what they're offering. So you got to really, really smart what they're offering to you and what warranties already come with the manufacturers. You'll just be paying a whole lot more. You don't need it. They'll try to sell you, man. They'll try to sell you that. And sometimes be aware of the loan, the length of the loan. Everybody knows the longer the loan, the more you'll be paying out. With the interest rate, it could be high. It can affect you. And a lot of times, if you have a longer loan, they can sometimes try to roll those warranties, all those extra, all the bells and whistles into your car because, you have that long loan. They can kind of smooth things out. And how you stretch out like peanut butter or clay, you can stretch it out a little bit more. That's the same thing. So if you don't need those warranties, you don't really need them. Buy what's practical. Buy what it is practical. Don't let them hype you up on a car that you don't need, especially like I said with that story with that Dodge Challenger. If it's just you don't need a truck. If you can save on gas, that's fantastic. Get an electric vehicle or something that's low, it burns less gas. A small subcompact. Don't let them hype you up on some car. Don't let them hype you up. Get what you need, what's practical. If you have a large family, you need a truck. You can't do, like when I went in there, I was like, hey man, all these bells and whistles is great, but I just really need space. I need space. I got extra family that's coming and I need, the family might say their family's all, tight up in the car and I can't really, they don't have any room. It's crazy. So I had to get a bigger car. So buy what is practical. And last but not least, folks, do not do not think you have to buy a car right then and there. Walk away if it's not a good deal. Trust me. To me, that is one of the best powers that you have. One of the best powers that you have is to say no. That is so strong. I'm telling you. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's fine. Go with what you feel comfortable with, man. Like I said, a lot of these are smarmy dealers, and they'll try to hook you in and say, that's not what I want to do. I could go someplace else. Sometimes they'll make a deal with you. Other times they're going to be, okay, fine, whatever. Let me see if I can find. But right now, we have a chip shortage. They're moving cars. The demand is higher than the supply. And right now they're moving cars. I mean, the car that I got, it arrived that day. I think either that day or in the weekend, or like a Friday. I went on a Saturday. I think it came on a Friday. Like it came in and went out. Some other dude had the car. He had a down payment on it for 3 months. He came in saying, okay, let me do this. His credit wasn't good, so he couldn't get the car. And then he bounced, and then he called later. I guess he was getting a cosigner, and then I came. It was like too late. The car sold. That's how quick these cars are moving, because they have less cars to sell. So that's why sometimes they want the lease cars, and they want to bring them back, because that's how they make money, to push them out. So yeah, man, those are the couple of things that you guys should look out for if you're buying a car for the first time, or you just don't know and you get caught up. And sometimes you have to work out your deal. It's not going to go everywhere. It's not going to go exactly how you want it to. Sometimes you have to make some concessions. You might have to stick out your arm a little bit further just to get what you need. So it's not like a total. You're not going to get everything you want. Sometimes you will give a little bit more because of your situation and you need it. You know what I mean? But make sure you don't just don't go get shafted. I bought a car and off a person, and it wasn't good. I forgot what it was. I needed it, and it was a small before I got another car, and it was a bad car, man. It was a bad car. I think the tranny was going. It was, oh man, it was terrible. I needed to make a quick purchase, and it was bad. I think I was in YO or something like that. This lady sold me the car, and I was like, I'll take it. It was crazy, but anyway, guys, look out for that. I think I went on long enough. I wanted to share something else, and I'll say this quickly. Chika the rapper, right? Everybody knows Chika the rapper. She put out a tweet saying that she wanted to kill herself. She was trying to figure out ways to end herself quickly without any pain. And, it was sad. It was really sad. Someone shared her tweet. And usually when someone speaks to other folks about how they feel about committing suicide, it's usually just a call out for help. And Chika's going through a moment, and, for what is going on, please reach out to Chika on Twitter. Show her love. She says it's not necessary, and she's still trying to. It's crazy. Deal with this, but forget that, man. Show her love, show her value, give her everything that she deserves as a human being on this planet. And I sent a message, and I just asked anybody out in the Twitter sphere to, if you're personal friends of Chika, please reach out to her, hug her, give her love up on her. She deserves it. And no one should have to go through this situation when they feel lost, broken, or suffering from some sort of pain. If anyone feels that way, you please call National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. If you ever feel that you want to talk to someone and you can't talk to family members, you can call that hotline. Someone will speak to you. Someone will try to help you figure out what dark place that you're in, and try to lead you out to the light. Life is a beautiful thing. As much as I talk about it on Twitter and my social media, and as much as things go wrong, especially for African American people in this country, Life is still a beautiful thing. The birds chirp, the trees sway in the wind, the greenish trees and the blue skies and the beautiful waves, the oceans that crash up upon the shores, the mountains, the rivers, and the good folks that do live on this planet. It is a beautiful thing, this thing called life, and it's very short. We could close our eyes and wake up and then we're not here anymore. So we have to take every second, every moment of the life that we were given, a gift from the ancestors, that we can be here to experience this beautiful thing. And when it's time to go, we can look back on our lives and say, wow, I did that. This is what I've done. I'm happy for every moment. I'm happy for every sad moment because it only made me a better individual. But never be in a place where you are having those low points and you feel that you can't get through it. Human beings, we're social creatures. We always want to be with each other. We always want to communicate. We can't be alone. That's not a part of our experience. So if you ever feel like that, get yourself around happy, loving people. People don't want to see you gone. We love you. We all love you. Our friends, our family, the people that we have experienced our childhood with, our teenage years, our adult years, and there will be hard times, but we can make it out together. We can make it out together with love. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I wish I could share more with you, but I'm trying to keep to my time. And of course, again, I blew it again. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys next week, and be well. All right, later.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.